Welcome in another video how we creating the material for our Kawoosh. This time we will create material for the puddle. We will create the bubbles and we will animate them. So without further ado, let's jump straight to Blender.
Welcome to Digital Imposter.
So let's start creating the new material for the puddle. So let's start from hiding our Kawoosh. Right now we will not need it. It will just obstruct the view for our puddle. Let's start from creating new material. Okay. So first thing we are going to do, we will create the bubbles and we will use Voronoi texture for that. Shift A, Voronoi texture. Okay, if you have turned on the Wrangler node, just press Ctrl T and we will get the texture coordinates. Switch to object. Perfect. Next thing what we are going to do is to change to the smooth 1, scale to 1 and smoothness to 0. Now we will add the color ram node, change those position of those flags to opposite. We want have white inside and black outside. Okay, let's add more space. Let's keep this something like this. Okay, let's copy the color ramp, Shift D, and let's flag distance over here again. Change the flags position. Here from linear, let's change to B-spline, and the same over here, B-spline. Okay, now we will add search math node, change to subtract, connect the color over here and this one over here, and this is how we have created the bubbles. Perfect. Now you can play a little bit with those flags over here. You can change this to 0.9. Okay. Yeah, it will be enough. Okay. So let's put this to the group. Ctrl G, and we expose the vector. Fine, no problem. And the value press clamp over here, and let's press end vector. We can keep the vector and output value. Okay, it's perfect. And let's change this to bubble. Okay. Actually, let's enter inside and expose the scale, because we will use the scale. We'll use the scale a lot. Okay, and copy this 3 times. I mean, we should have 3. You can have even 4 or 5, it doesn't matter. My computer is not the strongest one, so I will use only 3. So let's connect this to the vector. Okay. Next thing, what we are going to do is to add the map node. Map node. Copy this twice. Plug the value, the first slots. So let's set the scale first over here. Let's type here 1.618 and here this will be 2.617. Perfect. So next thing, what we are going to do is multiply this value, not this one, by very small number. We set to 0.618 and this one will set to 0.381. And now to connect those bubbles all together, we will use another map node, Shift A, search math node. And by the way, I said multiply, so we have to change here to multiply. And now it looks great. And here we will use maximum. So let's connect this one here over here. And this is how it looks. So what does maximum do is takes the brighter value, which is over here, and puts over the lower value, and it doesn't mix this. So look what happens. We will add looks like this, you see all those. Multiply, it's doing something like this. But if we put maximum, so it puts the circle above those small circles, right? So next one, let's copy this one, Shift D, put this over here and put this over here. This way we combine all those 3 bubbles together. And if you want to have 5 or 6, you can just multiply, copy this over here and put some bigger numbers over here for the scale, then multiply again through smaller number and use maximum. But I will use the three layers of bubbles. And if you want to change the scale, of course, all those numbers 3, you can play over it like this. Let's put this to 1. Or you can play individually for each bubbles with the scale. So let's put this to another group. Control G. Here we have bubble. This we will call bubbles. But we have already this, and let's expose the scale and the location. Let's put the location here and the scale here. So location, let's remove this one again. What a mess. Okay, again, location and scale. Okay, and this is the value. So let's exit and call this bubbles. Bubbles. So inside bubbles we have bubble. Okay. Yeah, I know, confusing. Perfect. Let's move this here. So next things what we are going to do, we will animate this using the, I think not Z value. Yeah, Z value. And we will make those bubbles not only appear like this and disappear, right? We will make sure they move from outside to the inside. So basically from edge of this puddle to the center, because this kind of animation we want. We want all those bubbles moving from outside to inside. And also let's enter to the bubbles, right? Let's enter to over here. And right now we use 3D coordinates, but if you want, you can change this to 4D and expose the W value to animate this if you want. And this way we can expose the W over here, plug over here, and plug this over here, W. And about the scale, so if you want, you can expose the scale individually for each bubble, but you don't have to, because when you set this, everything set the way it should be, you don't want to change anymore. But we can keep the W offset outside, because then we can animate this too. But with 4D, when you change to the 4D, this is more intense when it's about computation. So if your computer is not so strong, you can go and change this by change the Voronoi texture from 4D to 3D. But let's keep 4D for now. So let's start animating those bubbles. So first we will need the vector math node. Let's change this to length. Okay. We will use the object coordinates too. And we have this gradient right now, right? Black is 0, 1, white is 1. And so we will have to reverse that. We will use the math range node. Map range node. And let's change this to 5. And this one to 7. So now trust me, very white is in the center. And now we will use the Shift A, combine XYZ, plug this to Z, we need more space, G, another Shift A. Now we can copy this, Shift D, copy, change to add, like this over here, and this one over here. Okay, great. So we have already the distortion, and we will copy this one, Shift D, plug this here, and we will use this Z value to animate. And as you can see, using this length, right, this gradient that is creating the circle, we now moving all those circles, bubbles, in or out. It depends if you add or subtract the value, right? So next things we will do, copy this vector math node and set to normalize. Where is it? Here. Okay, great. But now everything is bigger, and as you can see, those things will be stretched to center, towards center. The bubbles will be stretched. So we have to copy again math node and set to scale, and use the proper value for this one. We have the scale. Let's put 10 even. 20. I think that 10 is enough. We get this kind of bubble-ish look, and it's moving. Okay, minus 10. Sorry. 0 scale 10. You can put even 7 if you want, but the 10 will be okay. So now we have to animate this one. Even if you remember, we need to animate the Z value. So we will combine XYZ. Let's add the value node. The math node. Math. Multiply. Put the value here. Multiply by 1. This will be our direction. Let's change the name. Direction. And copy this one more time, and this will be speed, and plug to Z or Y. It depends which axis your puddle is using. Speed. So here we hashtag frame. Very fast, and this one we will divide by 60. Too slow. 120. Very slow. And here -1, because we want to this go inside, right? So 30 frames, 16 frames, 15, 5, yeah, 2 or 3. So next thing now we are going to do will be to create the material, the colors for our bubbles.
Thank you very much for watching, and if you like what I'm doing, please consider subscribe to my channel, press the thumbs up, and also don't forget press the notification ring bell below. And in next video we are going to continue to create the puddle material. We will add some colors to it. So I'm not going to waste more of your time. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.